Expedition 33 is a beautifully crafted game where a team of extremely talented people all came together to waterboard you from the pool of creativity. I don't know what was going on in the studio for every part of this game to be drenched in so much love and care. You can feel it behind the scenic, painting-like areas, the immersive, heartfelt interactions, the nut-worthy soundtrack. It is genuinely impressive how much this game will surprise you with the insane number of ideas it has and how it chooses to explore them. Nothing shows this off better than the intro. You start off playing as our main guy, Gustav, who looks really similar to Robert Pattinson, who is already on the list of the most attractive men. He's with his sister, Mael, and they're talking about some pretty heavy topics, you know. People who have died, people that are gonna die, and Gustav's ex, Sophie. And they have this awkward-ass relationship where you get bits and pieces on why they split up and still see that they got lingering feelings for each other. Anyways, you start walking around town and you see buildings floating about with rocks in this weird formation all pointing towards the tower that says 34 on it. And like, do they not know this game's called 33? A festival is happening where the people there are mean. There's this lady telling me that I should have had kids and I wasted my life? What the hell? There's a piece of shit mime you can fight, which took me a worryingly amount of time to beat. There's also one dude hiding in a trash can, and I mean, he's kinda cool, but he reminds you of another life with another trash can. There are so many interactions in the festival, and you slowly start learning more and more about this world. But then you are hit with a horrifying realization that you're in France! And then you're hit with an even more haunting, elegant scene, where this giant lady, known as the Paintress, switches the numbers on the tower from 34 to 33. And everyone who's of that age disappears. All the people you interacted with in the town either vanish or lose someone they know. And this is referred to as the gommage. You learn that the tower has been counting down since 100, so it's been happening for a while. But there is just something about this scene that's done in such a beautiful way, but it still feels like someone's tearing your heart out. The rest of the survivors all set out towards the tower with the goal of defeating the Paintress and putting a stop to the countdown. This sets the tone for the rest of the game perfectly, and all of this took place in the first 20 minutes. They lock you in and get you completely invested in this journey. And holy shit, does it not stop ramping up with so many twists and turns and gut-wrenching scenes. Man, I cannot contain my excitement any longer. I gotta talk about this game, so let's go, let's go, let's go! The prologue should have been a hint that this game is not afraid to take risks, so do not let your guard down. And I immediately let my guard down, because not even 10 minutes pass from the last scene when you're introduced to... Now, Renoir is an interesting character, because he's out here traumatizing everyone with a cane. If you needed another indicator that this game was made by the French, then here's this scene where they take your already torn out heart and crush it into pieces. Only a few people survived all that vanishing shit, and now they're dying as well. This shit is just hurtful. Wait a minute. You experience firsthand why none of the previous expeditions were able to succeed. It hits you with the fact that this is a cruel, unforgiving world that these characters are in. Alright, so now we're on the continent, where the rest of the game takes place. And I can finally talk about the combat, because whew, it's like they went in with the goal of creating a gameplay loop that caresses your brain in just the right way. It's turn-based combat. And normally when you hear turn-based, the reaction... But these guys have switched it up, so when you're doing your moves, they give you a little quick time event, you know, just to keep you on your toes. But the actual comes when it's the enemy's turn to attack, because now you have two options. First is to dodge, which is a safer, more easier way to avoid damage, or a parry, which is a very specific time counter that allows you to gain AP points, which are used to do all the sick attacks. And I don't know what it is about the word parry, but it just clicks something in your mind, and that's what you're going to be doing for the rest of the game. If you parry all the attacks an enemy throws at you, you get to do a counter, and man, I'm telling you, some of these enemies throw like 9 or 10 attacks in a row. But when you parry all of them, whew, this shit has you levitating. And then after all those parries, your entire team hits back with a counter, and it feels so good. Until you realize the enemy was resistant to your elements, so you did no damage. This is an RPG, so yeah, there are elements here, but they work alongside the character you're using, as each one of them has their own unique skills and moves, which allows you to mix and match so many different builds. You can be a nuke, you can be a support, you can be a nuke support healer, you can be any enemy in the game. There's a build called the AK-47, and you sit there just violating the enemy, and they did not hold back with the enemy design. Whatever area you go to will have like 5 new enemies you've never seen before, and of course each one has their own attack animation that you can parry. These guys have struck gold with this combat system. It switches up the game for turn-based RPGs, and like, how am I supposed to go back to Persona after this? How? Combat isn't the only thing this game goes crazy in, as when you finish a game, you want it leaving you with a feeling like you've transcended the 3rd dimension and are not able to hit one of these, and you get that feeling from the vibes, and that lies in the visual design. But like, I don't really know what to call this type of art style, because they got those realistic graphics that you see from most AAA AAA game, but that doesn't hold them back from going full on the fantasy aspect. Like genuinely, some of these landscapes are so gorgeous. It's like I'm inside a moving painting. However, design isn't the only thing that makes this divine, as there's something crafted to refine the air. Man, I'm talking about music. This guy right here, I'm not even gonna attempt to say his name, but just know he's a genius. This is his first video game soundtrack, and he immediately comes in swinging. The developer said they found him on SoundCloud. SoundCloud, you know what's on SoundCloud? He gives us some of the most atmospheric ambient OSTs. The first place you go to when arriving on the continent is the forest area. After that horrifying welcome party, the game's telling you to relax a bit, learn the basics, take in the beautiful scenery and majestic music. Then they hit you with the water level. In most games I played, usually save their water level for later on, but it's like these guys were really excited to show you how good it looks. You got the OST that's like, and then they whip out this dance music and you're like, what the hell? I don't know where they pulled that from, but my cheeks are moving. The entire area is engulfed in this bleeding melodic blue, and I'm trying to sound smart here, so hopefully it works. This is in direct contrast to the rustling glossy red leaves of the Gestral village, which is the next place you go to. A lot of the areas in this game are either really chill or sad, so it's nice to have a place that's pretty lively, and that's thanks to all the Gestrals. They're pretty much like gnomes, except they come in all shapes and sizes and are dumbasses, but they're lovable dumbasses. They got this little store where one Gestral doesn't want you to buy anything in a shop, two Gestrals are about to throw hands at each other, and another Gestral takes $1,000 from you for a secret special weapon that I got scammed out. I forgot to mention that these guys are geniuses when it comes to building mechs. What the fuck? You got this little guy who's tucked away in the back is a casino, which means this place has gacha. Coupled with the fact that there's mechs and aesthetic scenes, then this is just an anime. And of course, every anime has a tournament arc, and we're going to be competing against some of the greats like Bertrand Big Hand and Dominique Giant Feet. And what's interesting is listening to the fans trying to power scale these guys.
Don't call me pathetic. Dominique has bigger feet than that brush's hands.
What do you mean? Bertrand's hands are so big, he could grab the painters and powerbomb her through the stratosphere before he could even say Expedition 33.
I'd Gustav. Usually when you're exploring, you only have you and your gang to talk to, so it's kind of fun interacting with these hooligans. After that, we got SK's place, and before you actually enter, there's this scene where Gustav yells at one of the Gestrals as it's the password to get into the cave, and then apologizes for it afterwards, and it's such a random ass scene, but it's kind of wholesome. I don't know why it stood out for me. You enter the cave and it sets the mood with these neon RGB lamps. Here's where you get to meet SK, who might be the best character ever made. He does talk like he's been, but he's just too kind. I want to hug him and have him tell me I'm a lavender flower that's about to blossom into a rock named Henry. You then move on to the Stonewave Cliffs, and we don't talk about what happens in the Stonewave Cliffs. There's the desolate, forgotten battlefield that has this dusky, golden light all around, and a shit ton of expeditioners' corpses lying about. It's like they put this here to show you that shit's going down from now. You scale this icy mountain to meet who is the actual best character in the game, Monoko. He has a lot of fun interactions with the rest of the gang. The delivery on his lines especially are top tier. But why does Monoko collect feet? I mean, I know why he collects feet is to transform into enemies, but why the feet? Why couldn't he get any other body part? He's grunting about them, he's polishing his collection. What are they trying to imply here? Because technically I'm the one collecting the feet, so does that make me the foot guy? I'm not saying I like collecting them, but I have to so I can get stronger enemies to use. I don't like the fact that it's feet, but like what? It's not. Old Lumiere is a quiet town where there's this sorrowful tone as you explore an area that clearly had someone losing their shit, as there's swords impaled everywhere. Something pretty interesting is how the battle theme here, instead of being something pretty hype, is just this guy going crazy on a piano. You think since it has the same name as the starting place, you'd be getting answers, but you just leave with even more questions. After that, you go into this freaky ass place that is centered around masks. Masks on the enemies that has them twitching, like why is that thing moving like that? We got Goldilocks and the three bears over here with that. Aww. One thing this game does is randomly sprinkling in these horror movie-esque scenes. They come out of nowhere and keep scaring the shit out of you. To cap off the exploration part, we got the desert area, which absorbs you in this majestic, ethereal, that's a big word, flow that gives this near automata vibe with its OST, and the giant lady dancing in the middle helps too, but we'll get to her. The contrast between this place and the mask area is interesting because while one is freaky and the other beautiful on the outside, it is the opposite once you get inside, as the mask area's enemies aren't too challenging, while the desert area has every piece of shit enemy in the game. Nothing hurts more than doing one of your big attacks that costs like 9 AP points, only to have the enemy shield negate all damage. My point is that each of these areas gives you a completely different feeling while building upon the tone that the game is going for. You have the worryingly addicting combat system and music that's just so good, it has you thinking these French guys got a whole other language or something. But there is a part where all these factors come clashing together and complement each other beautifully, and that's in the boss fights. Each of the previous areas mentioned is capped off with a boss fight, and they just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. The spectacle here is unmatched. There were a couple of standouts among these for me. First off, we got the hand dude from the intro, and of course he starts off in this macabre cave. Fighting this guy was pretty fun, and I could honestly feel myself improving after each turn, so in about 10 minutes I defeated him. But then I found out he has a second phase, because of course he does. And since I made an Elden Ring joke last time, I might as well do it again, because this dude is Morgoth with that curved sword and long ass delayed attack. Next we got the dualist, who is straight up aura farming the entire fight, and honestly he's earned it, because look at this shot. The arena is filled with the corpses of the countless number of previous expeditioners he's defeated, and he shows you exactly how he did it by turning into Pontiff Sullivan and hitting you with a non-stop barrage of attack. Defeating him lets you do an all-out attack in the end, and those are pretty satisfying. Monoco's technically a boss fight, right? He's got the bow wow 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 OST. That slaps. Next up we got the two big ones, the masked dude and Sieren. And seeing these fights genuinely threw me back on the scale of this game and how it reaches as high as these bosses. The masked dude has an attack for each emotion. Like he's got the determination mask from Undertale. The anxiety mask is a pretty good representation as it shows you everything you're terrified of. Then he proceeds to use the doubt mask, and you start wondering, what is he doubting? Then you realize it's actually you doubting this was gonna be an easy game. Like, what the hell is this shit? For Siren, she has a whole ass theatrical performance. Every time she does an attack and the camera pulls back, you completely forget you're playing a turn-based game. Talking about the camera though, the movement on it is so cinematic as it pans around, entrancing you in this performance which goes through multiple acts until it reaches its climax with a barrage of dancers and worm guys. This is such a beautiful, mesmerizing fight, and I keep getting surprised how much the creativity shines in this game. But my personal favorite boss is the man that's been hyped up since the beginning. You feel his presence throughout the entire game. You scale the top of the monolith and you finally get to confront him. Renoir. You technically fight him once before, but I'm not counting that. The music alone here cements him as the best boss. Genuinely, this soundtrack right here, it's the one I played in the beginning of the video and the one I'm playing right now. Best OST in the game and one of the best OSTs I've ever heard. The lyrics talk about the relationship and love Renoir has, and how deep and twisted it gets, making you feel hyped, heartbroken, and hell bent on going all out. He hits you with some interesting combos and then proceeds to send one of your characters through the Shadow Realm. His second phase has him bringing out a lion, and honestly I have no idea why he does that, but it's way too sick. It's just the whole build up and payoff for this fight. Renoir is such an intriguing character, and this fight has so many moving layers to it that enhances the experience each time you come back to it. Man, I love this shit so much. Now, there is another boss I want to talk about. One that resides beneath the monolith, and even going a level deeper lies this completely black abyss with the same golden swords we saw in old Lumiere impaled all over the place. Throughout the world, you can find journals from previous expeditions detailing all their journeys, and one of the ones you can find is from Expedition 60. You read how their entire team was comprised of the most OP brick shithouses. They defeated every enemy in their path, made it to the top of the monolith, and uncovered so many truths of the world. But they were all gommaged before they could have told everyone else. The thing is, even with all their strengths and accomplishments, they warn you of what lies at the bottom of the world. One dude sitting alone from Expedition 0. If you want to see how ass you are at the game, then this is the perfect fight. Simon is a brutal motherfucker. I don't know what the Expedition 0 team was doing to each other to have him fist you this hard. Every attack is a one shot. He makes sure of this by using his soul-sucking move and keeping your entire team on 1 HP. You gotta dodge or parry or it's all over. Actually, forget dodging. You have to parry because look at how many turns he has. You gotta chip away at his health any way you can, and oh my lord, that health bar is massive. That's all first phase, by the way, because look at this berserk ass phase transition. His second phase has him bringing all of his moves from phase 1 while adding an attack after each strike. He can now move at the speed of light here because of course he can. My team's dead, man, chill. And once you get him to 30% health, he hits you with the wiping away your entire team, meaning you have to send in the backups. And who's out here building their backups? The beautiful eclipse in the background has this red tint to it. And Simon is pissed as he hits you with 18 attacks in a row, and it leads to this struggle as you desperately pray you don't miss a single parry. It culminates in this climactic showdown that puts every one of your skills to the test, and the reward is pure satisfaction. And trauma. Now, I did do a section that was focused on the story. After I finished the script for that part, I went through it all again, and it was genuinely so ass, I had to cut everything out. So I will talk about the story in a future video in more detail, as this game has a lot to say, and it does so in this beautifully creative way. But with everything we've talked about so far, all the gorgeous visuals and the phenomenal soundtrack, I want to ask you something. Where does a parkour section fit in any of this? Who put this in the game? What sociopath was allowed in the studio for this to happen? And what evil nutsack greenlit this? I've died here more than any other boss, oh my god. It never ends, it just keeps going and going and going. Only the French could make something this cruel. Only the French!
obscur, noir et opaque, tu trouveras sans elle. Clair, obscur, trouble de rature, courbera et fait. Clair, obscur, noir et opaque,